I used to think sleep was my safest place, where work noise, city horns, and constant phone buzz couldn't reach me. That was before I realized something was watching me every night at 3:07 a.m. It started 2 winters ago, right after I moved into a small apartment complex outside Bend, Oregon. I'd taken a night shift job as a security technician, ironic, right? And the hours flipped my schedule upside down. Most nights I'd get home around 2:30 a.m., shower, throw some leftovers in the microwave and scroll until I passed out. The building was quiet, mostly retirees and a couple of college kids who never said more than hey. My unit sat on the corner, 3rd floor, end of the hall. I liked it because no one walked by my door. The rent was cheap because the complex backed up to a stretch of pine woods, dense and dark enough that the moon barely touched the ground. The first time it happened, I thought it was nothing, just my imagination stretching after a long shift. At exactly 3:07 a.m., 3 slow knocks came from the front door. Not loud, not hesitant either. They sounded deliberate, knock, knock, knock. I froze. My microwave still hummed behind me, and for a second, I wondered if it was some kind of pipe noise echoing through the vent. Then the second round came, slightly harder. I walked to the peephole. Nobody. The hallway was empty, motion sensor lights dim. The air felt heavy, like static before lightning. I waited, maybe someone got the wrong door, maybe a drunk neighbor, but no footsteps, no elevator sound, nothing. When I finally opened the door, the carpet outside was perfectly still. I locked the door, laughed it off, and texted my coworker. Dude, someone just knocked on my door at 3 a.m. creepy as hell. He replied a minute later. That's your welcome party, bro. Every building has its ghost. I didn't know then that it wasn't a joke. The next few nights passed quietly enough for me to wonder if I'd dreamed the whole thing. Work, shower, leftovers, phone, bed, everything ordinary. Still, I started watching the clock without realizing it. Every time it neared 3 a.m., my chest tightened, waiting for that sound. On the 5th night, I told myself I'd prove it was nothing. I left my hallway light on, sat in the armchair facing the door and waited. No TV, no music, just the refrigerator's soft hum and the wind against the glass. When the clock turned 3:07, the hum seemed to fade, like the apartment itself was holding its breath. Then came it again, 3 slow knocks. My throat went dry. I called out, "Who's there?" trying to sound casual, but my voice cracked halfway through. No answer. Through the peephole, emptiness. But this time, something subtle had changed. The light at the far end of the hall flickered once, as if someone had just walked under the motion sensor. I stared for a full minute before the bulb steadied again. The next morning, I asked the building manager if anyone had been wandering the halls overnight. He shook his head. "You're on the top floor, right?" "Nobody," complained. "Maybe it's the pipes." He gave me a look halfway between sympathy and "you're overtired." Maybe he was right. I started sleeping with white noise playing and left my phone's camera aimed at the front door, recording overnight. For 3 nights, nothing happened. Then on the 4th, I woke up before the alarm 3:06 a.m. My heart was pounding like I'd already heard the knocks. I watched the seconds crawl by until it reached 3:07. 3 knocks. Soft, steady, the exact rhythm burned into my memory. When I reviewed the footage the next morning, my stomach flipped. The audio captured the sound perfectly, but the video showed no movement at all. Not a shadow, not a flicker of the door handle. The morning after watching that footage, I didn't go straight to work. I sat at my kitchen table with the blinds half open, coffee cooling beside my laptop, replaying the same 20 seconds of video over and over again. 3 knocks, silence, nothing moving. The hallway stayed still, but the audio spiked exactly where the knock should be. It was impossible, but there it was. That evening, I brought home a small sound recorder from work, the kind used in field testing. If this was a building vibration, I'd catch it from multiple angles. I set one recorder near the door, another by the window, one in the hallway. Then I waited. By midnight, exhaustion crept in, but I refused to sleep. I sat with my notebook open, timing each small sound: the fridge, the radiator, distant traffic. When it reached 3:06, I could feel my pulse in my fingers. Every small sound in the apartment faded into one long silence. Knock, knock, knock. I looked straight at the door this time, eyes wide, every sense sharpened. The sound wasn't from the hallway. It came from inside the apartment, from the wall next to the doorframe. 3 slow taps, almost polite. The air in the room changed. It didn't get colder, it got stiller. Like the world was waiting for me to move first. I forced myself to stand. Every step felt too loud. The floor creaked in ways I'd never noticed. When I pressed my palm to the wall, the knock stopped instantly. No vibration, no warmth, just the faint hum of the light above me. Then my phone buzzed. A new notification. Audio clip saved 3:07 a.m. My heart pounded as I hit play. At first it was the same 3 knocks, then a pause. And just before the clip ended, a voice so faint I almost missed it. "You're awake this time." I dropped the phone. The sound wasn't like a whisper or a recording glitch. It had tone, rhythm, like someone standing right next to the microphone. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. When the sun came up, the apartment looked ordinary again. The hum of traffic returned, the heater clicked on, and light spilled across the floor like nothing had ever happened. But the phone on my counter still showed that clip, time-stamped real. I sent the recording to a friend from work who handled audio diagnostics. He called back later that day. "Whatever made that sound," he said, "was within 3 feet of the microphone, but there's no echo pattern, like the voice didn't bounce off any surface." He paused. "Are you sure nobody was with you?" That night I packed a small overnight bag and checked into a motel across town. The room smelled of cleaning spray and old carpet, but I didn't care. I left my home recorders running one last time. At 3:07 a.m. in that motel room I sat awake, eyes on the clock. Nothing happened. No knocks, no whispers. Just silence. The next morning, I drove back to the apartment to collect the recorders. Each device showed the same thing: 3 knocks at 3:07 a.m. perfectly synchronized. But there was something new this time. On the hallway recorder, after the knocks, came the faint creak of a door opening, and then closing again. Only my door hadn't moved. I handed in my notice that week. The manager didn't ask why. Maybe he saw it in my face. When I returned one last time to hand over the keys, the hallway lights flickered the way they always did. And as the elevator doors slid shut, I glanced at my phone. A new message notification flashed. 3:07 a.m., no subject. When I opened it, there was nothing inside. Just a blank screen, and at the bottom, a tiny timestamp that read, "See you soon."